Good.
So when you're ready.
Hi Daniel, you okay?
Hi. Yes, all right, thank you.
How would you assess pre-season as we prepare for the big kick-off? Have the group managed to embrace the positives from last season and shake off the ultimate disappointment? What's the mood like?
Yes, first of all, it was a bit shorter summer break due to the playoff with a heartbreaking outcome in the final, obviously. But as soon as pre-season started, we were fully recharged and recovered and on it again. And yes, I'm never tempted to overinterpret pre-season too much. But overall, I have to say we're a pretty good group together. We've worked very, very hard. Had a brilliant training camp in Germany. The training sessions were on the really good level. The friendlies that we had, 5 games, 5 wins, also against really decent opponents. Schalke 04, for example, Valencia. So also good for the rhythm, good for the confidence, good for us as a group also to find our confidence back into our process, into our football. Also good in terms of integrating a few new faces and. Yes, it's the business is not done yet. We will still stay awake till the end of August, perhaps also to strengthen on a few positions. But so far so good. I would say, and the feeling is that we are well prepared also for a pretty long season right now.
You say business not done yet. There have been some squad changes. Do you feel as though you're better equipped going into the new season than you were 12 months ago?
Well, obviously, we have done business and really good business so far. To bring Joe Roden in on a permanent basis is really good business. Like Jaden Bogle, also really good signing. Joe Roswell on loan. So I'm pretty pleased with our new faces. Brendan Aronson and Max Wöber are back from their loans. It's hard to compare the situation, especially once you have lost the best player in the league and the highest talented player in the league, and also a pretty important midfielder. We have also earned lots of money this summer, and then it's difficult to say that we are better equipped than in the last season. But the situation is much better, because last season there was pretty long uncertainty about many players with many loan clauses and exit clauses, and obviously it's always the same when once a new manager comes in, and in the 6 months before there were 4 different managers. It's always like you need a bit time to get your ideas across and your values and your principles. And the advantage that we have in this season is right now that the players who were involved last season, also the staff members, everyone knows much more about our football, the values, how we want to work, how we want to play, also the principles, the processes. So we have a good basement to build on, and also in terms of the uncertainty, we are in a much better position than 12 months ago. So the situation is much better, but that we are allowed to speak about, that the group is already better. So we're just allowed to speak about this in the end of the season, and we see if we have the same amount of points. So 90 points last season was not too bad, and it will be difficult also to be even better than that. So for that, also some important players have left, and we have replaced them and need to replace them. But before one game is played, I'm far away of celebrating this group too much. So we are on a really good path. We had a really good preseason, but we have to prove it also when the real stuff starts right now. And like I mentioned before, there are also definitely 2 or 3 positions where we have to stay awake and try to strengthen the squad even a bit more, because we have lost high quality players as well. And for that, so far so good, but we're not the finished product yet.
You mentioned losing big players, Archie and Cree, the 2 big ones that have moved on. Can you assess their contribution for this football club, and do you expect them both to light up the Premier League next season?
Yes, obviously. So it's no secret. Cree Sensio was named the best player of the season. 19 goals, 12 assists. So unbelievable impact. You can't replace such a player one-on-one. So it's simply not possible. So you can't have enough money to do this in the championship. And for that, yes, of course, we want to add perhaps on his position also another player on. For our squad, but it's not like a one-on-one replacement. because it would put too much weight on the shoulders of the potential new incoming. We have to find solutions within the group, and also with Archie Gray. There's a reason that more or less each and every top club in Europe was after him, and he went for an undisclosed fee, but be sure is a multi-million pound player. So there's no doubt about that. Archie was and is a top class player. But I would also mention Glenn Kamara, for example, who was involved and crucial for us in many important games. Good business with him, because we bought him in a situation when he was out of favor at Rangers, and we earned also money with him. So also important player, but not perhaps the three spotlight players. Also a player like Liam Cooper, who was not that much on the pitch, but in terms of his leadership and his experience within the group, a very important player. And what Liam has done for this club is second to none. He was and is a real club legend, and also some good options like Jamie Shackleton could name even a few more. So some loan players have left us, like Jaden Anthony, like Connor Roberts. So there are also some important players, or important for us, for the whole group, and we've done some really good business, but we won't fall asleep, so we need a bit more time to replace them. And it's always difficult if you then have to develop the next project and to integrate the next new player. But this is my task as a manager, and this is a reality. And this was also one of the reasons why we were also so disappointed with the outcome of losing the final against Southampton, because otherwise I think it would have been much easier to keep a player like Crescencio Summerville, or to keep Archie Gray, or some other players. So it's reality, and we have to face this and to adapt to the new reality and find some good solutions, and to make sure that we don't dwell under it. No, it's more the other way around. We are pretty confident at the moment, and also bullish that we try to find some good solutions, and we want to play on the same level like last season, perhaps even with an even better outcome. So we are highly motivated, and this is what we're working through.
Thank you. Good luck this season.
Thank you.
Hey Daniel, just on the team news for the game against Portsmouth, who's in and who's out, please?
Everyone is available, so good news. So I rarely had this situation in my life as a manager, that on the first game day really everyone is fit and ready to go. We've worked pretty hard, so for that it's also surprised, because I'm also a bit surprised, because yes, when you work that hard, normally you have sometimes a little muscle injury or whatever, but also credit to our physios, to our sports science, to all the players. So they behave in a pretty professional way. We're also a bit lucky that there was no contact injury in the last game, so at least no major thing. There was a dead leg in the last game for Jaden Bogle, but he's ready to go. All the players who are under contract are at the moment available and ready to go, so good news.
Obviously, we know that money's come in for big money as well, for both Chris Somerville and for Archie Gray. You said that after the Valencia game that things were not necessarily as you were able to spend loads of money. So what difficulty is there in bringing players in at the moment? How tight is the market? What are the problems? Because it may be expected that some more players would have come in by now.
I wouldn't label it too much of a problem, but if I'm really honest, we are also pretty picky. I stand also for values, and I just want players here who are really desperate to defend this Leeds shirt, the white shirt, and also the yellow shirt, by the way. And want to make sure that we have really great characters and also players who have a great identification with the club. So this is always a hurdle, because I just want players who are desperate to play here. And on the other side, they also have to have the quality to improve this group. So and to make this group also better. And it's not that easy, because we have already a pretty good standard. And normally when you want to have this more or less, yes, great characters, but also quality players, and also players who can play an important role for the future, it normally costs money. And I'm in a pretty good and lucky position that we have pretty ambitious owners also, and they are so supportive, and they think big about the club and also the future, and we all know where we want to end up rather sooner than later. But what is clear, we also stand for values, and I've mentioned several times, we still have to pay for some synth in the past, and this is also why we need some transfer incomings, because we want to be in line with all the financial rules. We have the financial fair play rules, and for that, yes, because perhaps in the past there were also some difficult decisions, and in order to be in line with the rules, we have to make sure that we earn more money with transfers than we are allowed to spend. So yes, we had great transfer sums during the summer, but we're not able to spend all this money, just a fraction of it, and then it's not difficult. And sometimes then it's always difficult, because you have to be a bit more patient, because we want quality players and players with right mentality. And for that, it's then sometimes difficult, because this quality normally costs money, and we have to be careful what we can afford, because we want also to work sustainable. We want to make sure that this club, doesn't have to pay for our sins right now. It's more or less like we have to make sure that we are 100% in line with disciplined financial behavior, exactly what we did also last season. Also to make sure that the new contracts, it's not like we make contracts out of panic, that we are not in the driving seat anymore. So I want players also with contracts here where we are as a club in the driving seat, and for that it makes life sometimes a bit more difficult. But I think we had also really good solutions so far. With Jaden Bogle, for example, excellent signing for us. A bit creative with Joe Roswell, a loan signing, also to bring Joe Roden in on a permanent, and we still have also some young prospects from our academy, also one of our cornerstones in our philosophy. Yes, we need also to add a bit quality in a few positions. That's right, but yes, it's also not like. Yes, you can bring quality players in without any money, and for that we have to be a bit careful and sometimes also a bit more patient than I would like to be sometimes, because to have the players in rather earlier than later is always better for the manager. But I know this business well enough that I'm not panicking, and I know with our knowledge and also the smartness of our people in the background, we'll get the right additions.
Look, we know you won't talk about Jonathan Rowe or Bueno or any players like that until they become your players. If they become your players, what you're saying is you're confident that any targets you're in for, that they'll still be landed. What I'd like to know, though, is have you been let down by some players, by when you've got maybe quite far into the deal and you thought, hang on, I don't think you really want to be here as much as you might pretend you want to be here?
You mean potential new signings? Or?
Yeah. If something's fallen down because those players don't match up to the standards that you've thought they might do.
No, because we were not that much under pressure, like for example, last season when it was really difficult to build a group. Right now, we got the feeling we have a good basement, and we are not forced to do anything. So we just want to have players here who are really fully convinced, and this is always more like we need to get this feeling also in the talks with the players. And believe me, so Leeds United is still an unbelievable big name in football, in English football, and many players are also tempted to come here, but they also need the right quality, and not like they just want to be here, but also like their personality and the behavior has to be top. So we do a lot of work on the background and if they fit to this group, because we have right now a really top group who is pretty united, and also with a great bond within the club and also with our supporters, and we just want the right mentality here. And then also players with this mentality and also quality is not easy to find, but I didn't feel that we were let down by some players. So it's more like it was more like when we went away from potential target, then it was our decision, not the decision of a potential player.
Obviously, without the goals of Chris Somerville, it's a big hole to fill. Can we expect a side this season then, or a way of playing, Daniel, that is a system where you'll share the goals a bit more? You're going to create chances for different players, particularly from midfield?
If I'm really honest, the gut feeling was we have shared a lot the goals last season. So we had Joel Pirot with many goals, we had Chris Somerville with many goals, Patrick Bamford in the end with many goals, Willie Nonto in the second half with many goals, Daniel James double figures, I think first time in his career. I think overall in the offense we have shared the goals a lot. So we spoke a bit about that. We're lacking a few more goals out of midfield, and in the second half of the season out of set piece from our defensive players. And yeah, we have tried also to work a bit on this topic, and will also try to work a bit on this topic even a bit more. So to chip in with some more goals out of midfield, and perhaps also out of set piece in the at least in the second part of the season is one thing what we want to do. And to be more effective, because I think in expected goals we were top in the league. So normally in terms of expected goals, we should have had the most goals in the league, but the conversion rate was not always top. So we missed too many chances. Also due to that, yes, I know in the offensive position we have many young players and potential players, and yes, we want to develop them, that they're even a bit more clinical in front of the goals. So if we are capable again to be there with the highest amount of expected goals, then already happy days. And if we convert it even a bit more, yeah, then we will finish definitely in the position where we want to finish.
And finally, Joe Rodon says it's going to be a tougher championship this season when we spoke to him. But can you see a Derby or an Oxford or a Portsmouth doing what Ipswich did last year? Do you feel it's tougher?
Well, I think it's always difficult to predict before the season starts how the championship is. I know that 100% this league is definitely competitive, and you couldn't predict that something like Ipswich promotion, automatic promotion happens again, because this was really an exceptional, outstanding success for them. You wouldn't expect that this happens right now each and every season. But I'm also full of respect for our new opponents also during this season. That means also the teams who are relegated from the Premier League, they will be there with a strong squad. When I also have a look on the signings, and they will be strong competitors. There's no doubt about this. And also the newly promoted side, for example, also Portsmouth in the first game. I'm full of respect. If you're capable to finish League One and win this league with 97 points. And be the best possession team in this league, then you have quality. So if you want to win the League One with 97 points, you have at least the quality to play a solid role, also on championship level. And for that, it will be also really tough first game day, especially in the first game days. Normally, newly promoted sides play with lots of euphorism. You rather play against a newly promoted side on game day 15 and not that much on game day 1, but sometimes you can't choose, and for that I'm pretty respectful. I wouldn't say they are the big favorite for promotion like Ipswich has done in the last season, but I'm also pretty respectful, and let's see what the new season brings. Thank you.
Hi Daniel. Can you reassure supporters that you do have significant enough budget to get what you need between now and the end of the window?
Yes, so you can never have enough. So each and every manager wants more. So if you ask me, of course, I would have loved to keep Chris Somerville, to keep Archie Gray, to keep our key players, and then to add even more quality. But to be honest, that's not the point. I know that, and we are in great talks, and this was also the reason I signed such a long-term contract for this club. I totally believe in our owners. They are ambitious, and they are the first who want to back us to go back to the Premier League. But first, there are the rules. We have to stick to the rules. And yes, in the years before, we had some tricky decisions in terms of transfer sums, in terms of salary, and it's always the same. It's in life the same like in football. Sometimes you have to pay this for the sins in the past. That's what we are doing, and I really feel backed. And you know what? I don't have the feeling that the club and the board and the owners are there in order to make my life easy or to please me or to suit me. I understand my job totally the other way around. I'm there to make the life of the club a bit easier. I'm there to please the club, and this is how I understand my role. And for that, I don't complain. When I think about last season, my aim was to bring stability to this club in terms of the group that we have. I wanted a group with players who really have a great identification with this club and want to renew the bond within the club and also together with our supporters. This is what I've done. And I knew it was tough last season, but I didn't sign the contract in order after my tenure that we're still playing in the championship. I never made a secret out of it. Once I overtake one day also my job to a different person. I want to make sure that we are in the Premier League. This is why I signed the contract. I want to work with this club where it belongs, in the Premier League. But it doesn't work in this way. Okay, I signed a contract and I talk us right now to promotion, or just because I'm here, I'm such a great magician, and I pray a little bit and ask for help for the club right now, and hope and pray for promotion. The only thing that works for me is hard work from my side, and this is what I try to give this club. So I try to stabilize this club in terms of our signings, also to give my knowledge, to have a proper group. I try to work on the values, how we want to work as a club, and also within the group of the staff, within the group of the players. I try to bring principles, how we want to play, that if you see us playing without knowing the color of our shirts, you know, no, this is Leeds United, exactly how we want to stand for. And if necessary, then also, yes, to create values within the club. This is what we've tried to do with our players. And last season we have had a player, 17-year-old Archie Gray, who has never started a league game, and right now he's a multi-million-pound player. We have done the same with Chris Summerville. His share was pretty much on the bottom after last season. We've done the same with Glenn Kamara, more or less. We have done the same with players like Jorginho Rutter and Ila Melier. So they were out of favor, and right now everyone is singing back their name. The same with Willy Gnonto. And of course, I would have liked if we would have promoted in the first time of asking we can keep these players and even improve the squad. But the reality is then, sometimes you also have to accept there are, first of all, rules, financial rules. And the second thing is, sometimes you have to accept that the player perhaps develops a bit quicker than the club. And this is sometimes tough to take, but that's reality. So Archie Gray, Chris Summerville, of course, after such a season, yes, they should play in the Premier League next season, and they will do this, and we have to accept this. And then we have created also a value for us with this transfer sums, and we have to spend it really sustainable and wisely to make sure, okay, we want right now to develop the next projects. That's the same. We spoke a lot about players like Matteo Joseph. We spoke a lot right now also on other players who are with us, James DeBayo, Charlie Crew. We have 16-year-old Sam Chambers, 15-year-old Harry Gray. This is my job, to work with them, to create a value for us, hopefully to keep them, to be the future for us. Or if not, if they perhaps even develop quicker than the club, also then to make sure, okay, then we do some good business and we earn money to keep this club going and make this club sustainable. This is one thing. And on the other hand, I'm also not naive. I know that just with 11, 18-year-old guys in the starting lineup, you can't win the league. So if you want to win the league or to finish in the top 2, for example, in the championship, you can't do this just with projects. No chance. And for that, we need to find a good balance. What I said, also to bring sometimes a bit more experience in, a bit more quality in, or proven quality on this level. And this is also what we need to do. We have a brilliant young leadership group. Probably the youngest with Isna Badou, with Pascal Struik and Ila Melier in the whole championship. Yeah, because normally your captain and vice captains are 30 plus. Ours are more or less in the early 20s, and we don't have too many players who are there with too many games on championship level. But we got the feeling we have a good basement for the future, and if we right now find the last pieces and bits, then we have a good solution also to play a really good season, because we have projects, interesting projects, and if we can strengthen also on a few key positions, also with quality and perhaps even a bit more experience, then we have a good setup. And I know I've got the backing, and know this is also exactly what our owners want to do and want to bring in. Yes, but to be within the rules is sometimes also a bit tricky, and we need to find the right solutions and can't be too driven by this and too naive and too panicking. I don't want us to overpay prices that are still unrealistic anyhow for players who are not worth it, because if you do this, then one day you will pay the price. We've experienced this, and for that I also make sure that we don't overpay any prices, and make sure that we are there also with ambitious business, but also realistic and smart business. And for that, I got the feeling I've got the whole backing. if one day I would have not the feeling, I will tell you, and then we'll be there with some consequences. But I have total trust in our key people in our leadership group, and for that, no, can't complain about the backing. Yes, the financial rules are sometimes hard to accept, because when money is there and you want to spend it, you think, come on, let's do this because it's sustainable what we're doing, it's disciplined, you would like to do this, but the rules are the rules, and sometimes you have to stick to it.
We've spoken to Brendan this summer, and I know that you had talks with him and he came back, and it feels very, you can't rule anything out, but it feels very definite that he'll be here as part of your group. We haven't spoken to Max. What sense do you get from him, and do you think he'll be here after September?
The same. Obviously, he was a bit longer involved also in the tournament. It was a bit more difficult, and yes, we had a good chat on the telephone when he was playing the games for Austria, and then I allowed him to have at least 2.5 weeks of holiday, also to clear his head and to come back. But also the chat we had there was like, no, I want to be there and want to prove my worth. And but it's always the same. Once a player comes in, and perhaps the last experience with relegation and more or less his reputation was not on the top level. You could compare it a bit like with Georgie and with Elland. Once they returned back to us the season before, they were also a bit in doubt, and new manager, how will it work out? And everyone is right now fully convinced, is singing their names. You could feel in the first days. It was a bit the same for Max. He was a bit careful in order to be too loud within the group, so he wants to adapt. But you got the feeling, especially the German training camp was pretty beneficial. And you've said, listen, after this preseason, Max, come on, we sit together and speak really honestly. How is your experience after the first 3 weeks of training, and what you think and how it is? And to be honest, he came straight away after the German training camp, knocked at my office, and didn't know what he wanted. He said, boss, sorry, I'm allowed to come in? Of course, door is always open. And he said, listen, I don't want to wait till the 3 weeks are over. Just want to make sure I'm 100% convinced. I believe in this group and believe in what we're doing. I want to be here. I know it's not like, okay, I press the button, I have convinced everyone. So after difficult season before and after being out on loan, yes, same like with Brendan. No, what one good training session or one good game is not enough to win all the hearts and all the trust back of our supporters. But he has already my backing, because he was top class in training so far. You can see him growing. Obviously, they came both back in a bit later. They will need a couple of weeks till they are there really with 100%, Brendan and Tim as well. But I got the feeling they can play really important part, and I got the feeling so he's really desperate also to prove his point, exactly like Georgie, for example, or Elland was last season, and that's definitely a good basement situation. Yeah, but right now the real stuff starts, and he has to prove it in the game. So let's not celebrate it too much. Right now the actions are more important than just the words.
Hi Daniel, you were pretty frank last summer about players who were agitating to go, and you removed them from training. Luis, William Yonto at various stages last August. As we approach the new season, do you get any sense at all that any players are agitating for a move, or may be looking further afield, or do you feel there's complete trust from across the group?
No, not one player was in my office in order to knock at my door to say, no, I want to rule myself out for training or game, and I want to leave or something like this. Not at all. Yes, I'm not naive. We have good players, and probably there are also some talks in the background that when you have offers from clubs from the Premier League or from the highest level, perhaps also as a player, it's also allowed perhaps to think about it. But not one player was in my office, because this is also why it was right in last season. It was a bit brave to do this, because we just had at times 13, 14 players in training, and I left even 2 or 3 players out and say, okay, if you don't want to be here, then okay, we train just with 11 or 12, no problem. And it was the right choice, because it sends the right message. Because even if someone was tempted to do this, no one was brave enough to knock at my office anymore. So everyone was there, and sometimes you have to be brave and have to make sure, although it's a difficult situation, you don't let your values drop or your standards drop. And this is always my my way, even if we are a bit under pressure and would need a player, will never beg or pray a player to play for us and defend the shirt. If it's necessary, I will take the groundsman to play for us, because I know then at least they fight for the shirt instead of playing a player who is not desperate to do this. But I guarantee you, and it's not a lie, it's really the honest truth. No player was in my office to tell me not to play or not to train. The feeling is no. Everyone is really at the moment really happy to be here.
You've mentioned fullback, you've mentioned central midfielder, you've mentioned maybe an attacker with Curry going. How do you feel about centre back at the moment? Do you feel you've got enough cover there, especially for Joe on the right hand side? Is James De Bayo somebody you're happy to go into the season with?
I was not sure before preseason started, if I'm honest, because I mentioned already with Max Wöber, I'm convinced of his qualities, but it was of course a bit doubtful how he would present himself after he came back. Convinced of him so far, I have to say, was a bit the same. We have offered also a few of our young projects from the academy to impress in training and preseason, and James De Bayo is definitely one player who has impressed me. And he's earned his place within our group, and for that I'm quite relaxed at the moment on the centre-back position. You never know. If a top player calls me tomorrow, if Virgil van Dijk calls me tomorrow and says, "Boss, I want to join you," I would think about it at least. But so far so good. I don't expect this to happen, to be honest. And yes, of course, in terms of something happens with a big injury or whatever, you never know, then we have to stay awake also on this position. But at the moment, I would say we are covered on the centre-back positions, keeping in mind that also Isna Badou can play perhaps on the centre-back position. He has done brilliantly in last season as an emergency case. And for that, I think it's also important once a player uses a chance like James. Yes, it's exactly perfect, because this is what we want from the club, to create values like this. And he has caught my eyes in preseason, and I'll tell you a secret, he's probably the player I'm most strict with. I'm always moan about him in training and always try to correct him and try to make him better. And the other players are making probably already a few jokes about this. But it's always a good sign when I moan about a player and I try to correct him and try to improve him, because then I believe in his potential. And this is definitely something I definitely do with James. So he has earned a spot, and rightly so.
We're just going to do Saturday in Bargoes if it's alright.